Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of License to Chill podcast. My name is Negin Azodi, and I am your host for this show. As you know, this season we are covering the body image topic, talking about body image issues, eating disorders, how to overcome them, and give you tips on enhancing your body positivity. Today, we have a very special guest to talk about her personal experiences with body image. She's my dear friend, my business partner, and a courageous survivor of chronic health issues and autoimmune diseases. And by sharing her experiences and profound knowledge, she will help you understand and navigate your own health challenges more effectively. Just a bit of information. I am recovering from a lung infection, so if my voice gets a bit rocky or I cough during this episode, please excuse me. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you our valuable team member, Nina Zed. Hi, love. Welcome on the show. I am thrilled to have you here. Hope you're not too nervous.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm so happy and so excited to be here, even though I'm a bit nervous. But I'm glad to share my story and maybe give some of you comfort. Because body image, it's just such an exciting topic for me. It's so complex. And when you think about it, we're often not even aware of the automatic internal processes that are happening. I have been dealing with several issues with my body, so it's fascinating to dig deeper into this and also to explore my own path.
Oh, absolutely. It's not until it actually affects you mentally or physically that you for fully really pay attention to these issues.
Yeah, exactly. And when we were working on the last episode, From Your Body with Love, it actually gave me a notch and I tried to remember the first time I was consciously dealing with my body image.
Oh, I
I
actually
mean,
had to ask you that. Yeah, when was it?
yeah, we all know today one is so quick with noticing certain features and criticizing one's own body or even the body of others. But when did it actually start for me? So I tried to remember, and the first memory that popped up about someone negatively commenting on my body is from the time I was about 5 years old. Yeah, one of my relatives, she sarcastically pointed out my hairy legs and made fun of me. Well, of course, as a kid, I didn't understand the concept of sarcasm. I was still in the process of forming my worldview, my concepts of what is right and wrong and beautiful and not accepted. And you know what? How deep these comments and influences can go is just so incredible. I mean, until today, I still catch myself having issues with body hair.
Oh, yes, that's true. So it makes sense now.
Yeah, so, anyways, when it came to body issues, it went on with kids at school calling me flatland area for having small or, well, at that time, no boobs, a relative raising concerns about my slightly shifted chest, or a doctor telling me to get surgery to fix my chest and at the same time my boobs because, well, and I quote now, this is like still on my mind like it was yesterday. We should fix that. We can't leave it looking like that. That's not pretty.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I was about 12 or 13 years old at that time.
So young.
Yeah, and because of this comment, I covered my chest for years and I felt so self conscious and insecure about my boobs.
Oh my God, I can imagine, of course.
And I mean, we have talked about that already. So you know that only recently I have dropped this insecurity.
And I'm very
So
proud for that.
thanks. Yeah. So, what I'm actually trying to tell you is, dear listeners, please be careful what you say to kids about their body and what you communicate about your own body. Kids take everything seriously. They cannot differentiate between sarcasm, fun, and earnest. And teens, we all know they're so impressionable. Otherwise, well, one day the result might be an insecure individual who has a distorted perception of his or her own body is deeply unhappy and even engages in unhealthy practices to change their appearance.
Oh my God, Nina, I am so shocked because, you expect people, like normal people, to comment because, they do. But
Yeah,
for a doctor to tell a 12 or 13-year-old girl that she needs surgery because that's not pretty, that really should be illegal. Like, I wish in general, though, like doctor or not doctor, healthcare worker or not a healthcare worker, I wish people knew how their words could actually affect others. I wish parents knew how crucial it is to protect your children from harmful atmospheres. Yet, all parents are always focused on is to childproof their house. Like,
yeah,
childproof the door of the refrigerator because God forbids the kid will open the door and like what seafood. And but what about the people that the parents are hanging out with, or what about social media? Like, now a 4-year-old child is actually having a tablet or the parents' tablets or parents'
yeah,
phones,
yeah,
and this, like, they use it because the parents like give it to the kids because they want to them to get distracted so that they can have some alone time. But
exactly. And
yeah,
sorry, it's it's just incredible how these kids also navigate on their phones.
I know, like, they know exactly where to check, what to do. They are
They
so
know their way around. Yes.
developed. And remember in the previous episode, I said that body image starts as early as 4 years old.
Yeah.
So, like, of course, also you hearing those comments as young as you were would affect you a lifetime and would make you a lifetime of, getting over that struggle. And, then with our teenage years, that's the peak of your insecurities. So, navigating teenage years is an absolutely challenging time for everyone. You undergo a lot of physical, emotional, and social changes. And teenagers are even more prone to insecurities related to body image because they also compare themselves to the societal standards and their
Mm,
peers. And then these insecurities can also come from many sources like social media, the influencers. Like in the other episode I also said like there were, I don't exactly remember the exact number, but billions of influencers right now on social. Because think about it, when you go on Instagram, whoever's profile you're checking is an influencer.
yeah.
I mean, I also probably wrote it on my Instagram too. But these kids, as for starting from the age of 4, they're exposed to all of these influencers trying to promote different things. And then they become like teenagers, and then there is bullying around in schools or their personal experiences. And you said too. But remember, like with our days, it was more like, okay, a bit like limited what you had access to because of the
Yeah.
technology and the platforms that were available.
And even at that time, it was tough already.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that you got those comments at the age of 5 and it affected you a long time. Like it's still sometimes affecting you. But imagine now, since a 4-year-old has also access to all those platforms and all the norms, so they are as prone as teenagers these days to develop
Oh,
body
that's
issues.
crazy.
And that's really the reality that we have to live with, unfortunately. Because, unless we put boundaries and we protect them from all the toxicity, that's one thing. But to a certain point, we can actually limit people and limit kids and limit like what billions of influencers. That's a bit impossible. But um I mean, I always say that Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to do also on my Instagram once I realized how it affects many people's mental health.
Mm.
But that's like, I know I'm like a small person, small fracture in this world, but I think at least everyone should realize what a crucial role they play, not just in their own life, but also in everyone else's lives. But okay, this show is more about you. Okay, back to you. I know that you had also a major unwanted lifestyle change, let's call it this,
Yeah.
happening to you in your I don't know, early or late 20s.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in my early 20s when a major shift happened for me. Before that, I've always been quite healthy, and all of a sudden, I had serious stomach issues. I couldn't hold food anymore. I had serious cramps and kept losing weight. And my doctor at the time, she treated me for months with antibiotics until at some point she told me to see a psychiatrist because what I have is psychological. According to her, I just needed attention.
Wait,
And
she actually said that?
she actually said that, yes. I mean, of course, that was the last time then I saw her because I was shocked. I knew I didn't make up that pain. So I tried several other general practitioners, and some of them told me, well, it's stress related. Others told me to build up my gastrointestinal tract flora.
Very specific.
Oh, yeah, it is. So if any of you listeners are wondering right now, what is a gastrointestinal tract flora? Um, in our stomachs and intestines, we have certain healthy microorganisms that help us to digest food, produce vitamins, neutralize toxins, and they're important for our immune defense. So, anyways, whatever they prescribed me, my issues, they just wouldn't get any better. And as if the pain wouldn't have been enough, I had circulatory problems. So I was constantly dizzy, I got headaches easily, and was trembling.
Oh my
And
god.
I had serious sleeping issues too, and was constantly tired and exhausted. At some point, I was in constant pain, and I lost so much weight that my parents, they thought I'm an addict who abused heavy drugs.
It's very typical for parents to immediately go towards drugs. Like,
Yeah,
I thought that was only for Middle Eastern parents, but
it was so bad. It was so bad, yeah.
I can imagine.
So,
Ew.
um, for all of you who don't know me yet, let me tell you this. I've always been skinny, except for the time in Ireland, but it's an interesting story we will cover probably in the next episode.
Oh, definitely. Stay tuned. I'm so excited.
But the kind of skinny that I have become at that time, that was a whole new dimension. I was totally distressed and I was starting to lose hope. I just couldn't imagine living a life like that in constant pain. So at some point, I even turned potentially suicidal.
My god, poor you.
And it took me 4 years to find a doctor who would dig deeper and who finally found I had a serious gluten intolerance, celiac disease.
4 years
Yeah, 4 years.
for a disease that is actually known. Like it's not like it's not a well-known disease. It's a well-known disease. I cannot believe that 4 years doctors told you it's all in your head, it's stress related, you're making this up, this is for attention. So,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And oh my God, actually so funny. I was just looking at the date, and you know what? I just realized that I got my diagnosis exactly 10 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
happy anniversary to myself.
So cute.
um,
Oh my
so
god.
yeah, after I got the diagnosis, I started with a strict gluten-free diet. And believe me or not, but within 1 week, I was free of my stomach pain. I was able to hold food, my trembling stopped, and I started to sleep better.
Oh my
I
God.
noticed a significant difference within 1 week, only 1 week.
Like, really, a huge shout out to that specific doctor that saved your life.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it was also a big, big change for me and for my family. And compared to today, the gluten-free options, they haven't been that diverse or tasty. I still remember that sometimes the bread, it tasted like chicken feed.
Nina, how do you know what chicken feet tastes like?
Wow. Oh my God.
That was
Um,
so random.
well, I grew up at a hobby farm,
Mhm.
and as a kid, I was even more curious than today. And I mean, it was just grain.
Oh
So,
no, the picture in my head.
anyways, moving on. So, what? Oh my God, what disgusting gluten-free things I have tried. I mean, I'm laughing about all of that now, but back then I had a hard time getting used to the diet and the restrictions that it meant for my life. Casually traveling somewhere,
No.
spontaneously going out for dinner, being invited to friends, spending a day outside and grabbing a snack, all of these things were all of a sudden difficult and connected to quite some organizational efforts. It was just so frustrating.
Wow, I can imagine. This has all happened like overnight.
Yeah, yeah. And then at the same time, I also tried to understand where the celiac disease came from, what I might have done wrong,
Hmm.
could I have done anything to avoid it? And why is my body doing this to me?
Listen, of course, what happened to you was so sudden and at a very young age. So it is very normal to first go into a victim state of mind and even try to think of ways you could have avoided it, because the 7 stages of grief.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that those stages are when you actually lose something. When I was going through therapy, my therapist actually told me that we go through stages of grief for even when our lifestyle changes. In little changes, you start going through those stages of grief to just mourn the life that you had before that was lost. So for you was also going through the stages of grief for your life before gluten sensitivity. We can call it BG.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, it would have been really easier to let self pity take over. But I just knew that doesn't lead to anything. So I picked myself up, I stopped questioning it, and I got really good at organizing my life around my celiac disease. And at some point, I even got my confidence back. For years, I just restricted myself from certain experiences or activities, especially when it came to traveling, because I was too careful and I didn't know how I could do it with my gluten free diet. And up until then, traveling has been such an important part in my life. It was devastating for me to give up certain adventures and plans. Well, today it's totally different. Today, my most constant and loyal travel companion is my gluten free bread.
Oh, that famous gluten free bread. Let me just tell the listeners here, when I first met this beautiful woman, it was on a yoga retreat. And every morning that she was always like very early and would go even earlier to breakfast and lunch and everything. Every time I went to meet her at our table, it was her and her travel companion. At some point I felt like I'm literally like third wheeling there.
Yeah, me and my bread.
Like I can't even imagine you now without that bread.
Yeah, that's really hard to
Adorable.
do. And yeah, I mean, I love traveling and I got that back in my life And I just spent 1 month traveling throughout Namibia. And guess what? I've had the time of my life and all gluten free.
Woohoo! Honestly, though, jokes aside from the bread and everything, it's really impressive how you switched your mindset and changed the perspective and the scenery and the story. Of course, it wouldn't be easy for anyone to do so. And I'm sure it wasn't easy for you because I'm sure it didn't happen overnight, right? It's more like a matter of practice because I always say that our brains, just like any other part of our body, is a muscle. And just like any other muscle, you know, when you first go to, let's say, gym after a while
Yeah.
of not working out, that your muscles, when you try to lift weights, even the minimum weight, you're shaking and you're trembling and it's weak because you don't have that muscle yet. But after practicing and going there constantly and being dedicated, then you will gain that muscle and you will gain that skill and you will ace it after a while.
Yeah.
So it's the same also with our minds. So, of course, it's easier always to gain the victim mentality because, you know, it doesn't, you don't have to put a lot of energy into it. You just say like
Exactly.
victim, people will give you attention. It's actually very nice, but this will make you like drown yourself in self-pity. And in the long run, it will only cause you more problems instead of fixing the primary one. So, my tip on this part is that anything that comes easy in short term will definitely not help you in the long term. And your whole life is based on exactly like how you react to the problems and not your problems itself.
Yeah, it just takes dedication. And well, there will be days that are tough, and that's okay because all of our feelings, even the unpleasant ones, they are valid. And after the tough days, there will be better days, and it's so worth it.
Yeah, it's like the waves, you know.
Exactly, you just ride the waves. Yeah,
It's like surfing and you just have to surf it.
yeah.
Anyway,
So I still stick to a gluten-free diet until today. But what hasn't changed over the years is my body. I'm still skinny. I have a hard time putting up weight. Well, let's look at the bright side. I love eating and I can eat a lot.
oh, I know. And no problem with that.
No,
Go
not at
for
all.
it,
I'm
baby.
enjoying my life. I really do. But I still get comments that I'm too skinny. And let me tell you this with confidence now. I love my body as it is. I know I'm skinny. I have small boobs. If I don't watch out, I lose my hard-won kilos and then I'm bony. And you know what? That's okay too, because my weight will go up again some point. But to get to where I am now, it took me quite some time because I felt really uncomfortable with my body. I felt disgusted by how thin I was. I felt I was not feminine enough, too boyish. I was often so insecure about how I looked. And every comment I got about my body made me even more self conscious.
Okay, but wait. Even though I was the same, then by the same, I mean like the absolute opposite character of what I am today. And I was also very uncomfortable with my body. I had social anxiety, which you know how outgoing and social I am today. But still, it's crazy to hear that you're saying that you didn't feel feminine and boyish and not comfortable, like confident, because right now you are one of the most confident and feminine women I know.
Oh,
And
thanks.
of course, I don't know you for so long. It's like half a year. Wow, I just realized it's half a year.
Oh, that's
but
crazy.
but still, it's really like making me even more intrigued to know what helped you gain your confidence and femininity back.
That's a good question. It all started to change when I started dancing around 5 years ago. My therapist actually suggested exploring and expressing my feminine energy, and she recommended a small dancing studio to me that is solely for women and that offers courses for belly dance, burlesque, chair dance, and so on. And I always loved dancing, and I was intrigued by their burlesque course. I
Of
mean,
course.
some of you might even know the movie with
Oh my
Christina
god,
Aguilera, Burlesque.
just
That's what I had in
hear
mind.
that. Yeah, I just literally that's the picture that came to my mind when
Yeah,
burlesque.
exactly. Um, and I did go there, and I still remember my first lesson. I felt so out of place, so stiff and unsexy. But no one judged. In this studio, women of all sizes and shapes, they come together and they share a love for dancing, for embracing their bodies and for just being women. And it's so inspiring and wholesome with women who build each other up, who accept one another, and who support each other.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, it's such an amazing place.
Everyone needs a place like this, a community.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That helped me a lot. And actually one of my core memories is during my first burlesque course, my dancing instructor, she's an incredibly inspiring and strong woman. She pulled me aside and she pointed to the vase with lilies in the corner. And she told me something really beautiful. She said, Nina, you are a beautiful flower. For now, you might be still closed and shy like this lily there, but one day you will open your petals. You will shine bright and embrace your beauty. One day you will enjoy your body, you will enjoy feeling it, and I can't wait to see that.
oh my god. Oh my god. I got goosebumps and tears. That was so touching, and my voice is changing now.
There we go.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. So
I mean,
touching.
she was right. She was so right because with dancing burlesque, I experienced my body in a completely different way. I got a different awareness and I started loving myself. Well, also because our dancing instructor, she integrates self-love and body acceptance into our classes with small little exercises, and
Yeah.
that just comes naturally.
Listen, like dancing, I was actually reading an article about this long time ago because I really want to start dancing too because sometimes I really feel also not so feminine and I'm struggling with that.
Oh, I can only recommend it.
Yeah, I really, every time I talk to anyone, everyone says try out dancing because that's like a life changing. And I started doing some research on it and I found out that it has actually like psychological effects on your body image and feminine expression because through movement, firstly, like through movement, dancers will appreciate their body's strength, flexibility, capabilities, and this leads to a more accepting and loving relationship with your body. And then by exploring, let's say, different movements and styles and emotions, you will like tap into your inner self and create a sense of self-awareness and confidence that of course that leads to like a better understanding and acceptance of your identity, and it also like contributes then to of course a more positive self-image.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
out of all, like on the side of all of this, dancing and exercise, the cardio, of course, it also releases endorphins. Sorry, voice. Endorphins. And that is a hormone which you release it during physical activity, and it improves your mood and it decreases feelings of anxiety and depression. So, all of this leads to a more positive outlook on your life and hence a healthier relationship, with your body.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I experienced it myself. There have been days where I felt off before the dancing sessions, and afterwards I was a completely different person. My mood and my whole energy just shifted.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. I'm definitely trying it out. Now you also saying this, I, I'm definitely trying this out. But one more question, like, did you do anything else at home also? Because of course, like, you
Yeah,
didn't every day. So I'm thinking like, did you do any practices, any
yeah,
that you could also give as a tip?
yeah. I mean, apart from rehearsing the choreographies at home, I also did some exercises that we did during the dancing classes, like the positive affirmations. And I
Oh,
also, yeah, I also started focusing on positive aspects of my body. What do I love about it? What do I find attractive? And I started treating myself like a queen. I consistently integrated things, activities, and even people in my life that brought me joy and positive energy, while at the same time restricting and removing negativity and sources of tension. Well, that before you ask, because I know that question will pop up at some point. Yeah, that also meant for me to let go of certain people.
oh my God, I was literally gonna ask this. This is really interesting when you said like you started changing your perspective about your own body, because this is also exactly what I did. In the previous episode, I mentioned that I would stand in front of the mirror and
Yeah.
refuse to leave until I would say something
Mm,
positive about
yeah.
my body. And
Mm.
that really does shift everything.
It
And
does. And
yeah.
it it might sound ridiculous and you might feel ridiculous at that moment, but it really changes your energy.
Yeah, of
And
course.
if you're consistent with it,
Then
yeah,
will do wonders if you.
yeah, exactly.
And it's interesting that you mentioned affirmations, because let's tell the readers that we did post the reel on affirmations, that the positive affirmations that you can use to enhance your body positivity. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can check it out on our Instagram, and make sure to take notes, and you can, but we
Start
will,
using them.
yeah, we will even post soon about exactly how you can use them and give you tips. But check them out, it's going to really help you out. But how long did it take for you to overcome all of these body image issues? Because nothing is achieved overnight, of course, and I'm sure this was one of those things as well. But do you know how long it was?
Oh, I mean,
Hard
I'm not saying I have overcome all of them, but I'm on a pretty good way. But it takes a while. I couldn't say, oh my God, but it just takes consistency, and at times it might be tough, but it's just so worth it.
Yeah,
Do
absolutely.
people still comment on my body negatively? Yes, they do. But what has changed is the way I react to it. I
Yeah,
just brush these remarks off now. Sometimes it might sting a little at that moment, if even, but quickly I find myself in my positive and self loving mindset again.
beautiful. People will always have an opinion about everything.
Yeah,
Like whether you do something good, whether you do something wrong,
I agree.
whether you could be the most beautiful, you could be, you know, the whole package, and people will still find a way to have an opinion about you and what you did and what you're doing. So I just know, also I had to learn this the hard way, exactly what you said, that you just have to know that your value is not determined by anyone else's inability to see your worth at
Yeah,
all. Because if we only live once, and if you spend your life worrying about every negative comment that anyone else could give you, You will lose yourself in the process. You won't enjoy this game. And next thing you know, you lost your life worrying about other people.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much for all of this and
You're welcome.
giving us the time, and also for trusting this community and sharing
Oh, it's been my pleasure.
like valuable experiences. As I told you, like people, there are many people in this world that probably are going through the same thing that you went through, and maybe they are in the first stages. So it's really an honor to have you here and to talk about it. So hopefully they will get it and it will reach into their hands. But before we say goodbye, would you like to add anything else? Any wise quotes you want to say? Anything you have to say? This is the time.
Well, we create our own lives and we're responsible for our own happiness, and it all starts with us. And I do have a motto for life that I can share with you.
Oh,
And I love saying that because I love writing. I usually say, I'm the author of my own life. So let's make an epic bestseller out of it.
oh my god. Okay, mic drop. You keep giving me goosebumps today.
Oh,
And my voice can't handle this. You see, it's changing because I get so emotional. Oh, this was really beautiful, and I'm going to just end it here with this beautiful quote. So, thank you everyone for joining us on another episode. And if you haven't followed us on Instagram, please do so via License to Chill podcast altogether. And make sure to like this episode, subscribe to it, even share it to the person that you think might really need it. And make sure to subscribe to our Spotify as well so you'll get notified with our upcoming exciting episodes.
till next time. Love yourselves and take care of your beautiful bodies.